How we doing, fitties? It's Matty Boy Whitmore here with the gorgeous Keris Marsden, and today, stop, honestly, we are going to talk about some common mistakes that we think women make. Don't worry, we're going to do a video on the guys as well, not just picking on you ladies. Yeah, common mistakes women make when it comes to nutrition, fat loss and things like that. So,
yeah.
Keris,
fire away.
tell them.
Right, okay, so we're going to go for three. Number one for me is...
Just three.
A lot of women believe, most women in our experience, that there's kind of like a golden ticket when it comes to fat loss. So there's kind of one thing that they might be missing, be it one supplement, or there's kind of a nutrient, or there's a really special diet that exists out there, the holy grail.
There's meant to be two fingers. I've done one.
The holy grail. Shut it. A holy grail of fat loss, and it exists out there and they just haven't found it, so they keep searching. And I say they, but this was definitely me for years, not really kind of understanding my body's basic needs, nutrients, micronutrients, that kind of stuff that, you know, to fuel your metabolism was what I generally needed. So, and again, that kind of makes women really vulnerable and susceptible to a lot of the marketing that's out there by diet companies and health products. And it's a real shame for me because actually, again, we kind of talk about this across Fit 16. It's all about kind of getting a foundation in place of really nutritious food, sleep, stress and exercise just enough, not too much, that you love. So there is no holy grail, but there is also a need for a certain amount of adaptation with any kind of plan or nutrition kind of approach that you adopt, so that it's sustainable for you, you enjoy it, and then obviously it's kind of getting you results as well. It's just, that's the little bit that kind of, you know, takes a little bit of work, but generally the principles in terms of what we should all be eating apply across the board, men, women, kids, you know, the same stuff. Yeah,
I mean, like, you know, people start making these links to, like Keris said, like this one particular diet because either they've got friends or family members that have got great results on it, or maybe you got good results in it in the past. But we've worked with some people that have tried again and again and again and again on the same diet because they believe that's the way to do it.
It worked once.
But then we're like,
but then it stopped working.
If it was so good, why are you here?
Yeah,
you know, why,
it should have worked forever.
Exactly. And you know, there's got to come a point where you're like, gosh, I can't have another go at this diet. I've got to come to terms with that. This is not for me. I need to find something else.
Awesome. Okay, number two would be overthinking the detail and the process. And the reason being, I have to highlight this because, again, I think the details that women tend to focus on are the ones that probably aren't making that much of a difference. And in the background, there's kind of this chaos that almost needs sorting out, which involves kind of, you know, asking yourself some questions and reflecting on why you might have cravings, why you find it hard to give up certain things, why you turn to maybe exercise, you know, when you're kind of feeling stress, it's almost like your only release. And the details that we tend to overthink are macronutrients, so carbs, fats and proteins, or maybe are we, you know, kind of, you know, just details of logging foods and food diaries and things like that. And often, again, just going back to my first point, you know, the kind of principles are the same for everybody. And really, for me, where most women kind of need to address is actually the bigger picture, the bigger lifestyle picture, getting a bit more headspace, really looking after yourself in terms of, you know, not feeling guilty about taking time out to do certain things. And women spread themselves really thinly, looking after friends, family, partners, etc. And it kind of leaves you a little bit exasperated. So we tend to like to almost lose ourselves in the detail, like a distraction of weight loss, make it almost a full-time job in some ways. But what we really should be doing is losing ourselves in the park. That sounds a bit weird, but going to a park and lying down for 10 minutes, you know, taking time out, having some lovely hobbies where we escape from daily stresses, being kind to ourselves, going to bed with a book, having a nice bath, you know, those kind of things are the details that we're actually missing when we want fat loss, when we want to kind of support our nutrition changes.
Well, it's like we always say, you know, you've got to nail the basics first. And that comes with absolutely anything, like even with me on like my boxing journey at the moment, you know, there's certain fundamentals that I need to get in place before I start throwing these knockout punches, if you like.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
the
like
same,
your basic fitness.
Basic fitness, footwork, keeping my hands up, you know, little things like that matter a lot, and then you build upon them. And it's the same with your nutrition, you know, you get the basics right first. Don't worry about all these kind of fancy minor details. You know, we can maybe come to those later. Get the basics in place, you know, maybe 3 square meals a day, some daily movement, some moderate to intense exercise, maybe 4 times a week, you know, and get into a routine of doing that consistently once you've had a bash at that, don't expect a rapid response within a week. You know, give it a bit of time, get into a routine, and then assess and maybe see where changes need to be made.
Awesome.
Number 3.
Okay, so last point. I was torn between saying guilt, because I think women are kind of too derailed by guilt. They feel guilty a lot and kind of change behaviours really quickly based on that sense of guilt. But actually I'm going to go with instead just poor body image, kind of low self-esteem. So a lot of women's health journey, fat loss journey, nutrition changes are driven and start out with a kind of antagonistic relationship with their body. I hate this, so I'm going to do this. I don't like my arms, I don't like my legs, I want to look like, you know, I want arms like Madonna maybe, whatever it might be. And it's kind of this desire for change, but it's built upon, you know, really disliking your body. When what we should be doing is, if you genuinely have to lose weight, you have a body composition goal that we need to meet to be healthy, is kind of look at your body and think, well, this has happened because I've, you know, maybe deprived my body of some key nutrients. I've eaten some things that didn't really work for my metabolism, you know, in terms of when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about refined carbohydrates, excess alcohol, you know, sugar, that kind of stuff. You know, you've kind of taken on nutrients that the body finds hard to deal with. So in a way, your health journey is your apology back to your body, and it's about you and your body coming together as a team, you know, and really working together. It's something that we mentioned in Fit 16. The start of your health journey has to be the acknowledgement that you and your body are together for life. There's no escaping it. So you've got to work as a team. You've got to work together. You've got to embrace what you've got and just become that best version of yourself. So it's about kind of saying sorry and kind of doing everything in that kind of more positive manner than going, oh, I hate this, I just want to change it, you know. And you know, for me, I often talk about just sticking on some comfortable clothes, so you know, something that you do feel good in, and almost forgetting about the body composition side of things. Some people do need to check in just for kind of accountability and to assess and make progress, but almost putting it to a side for a second and just focusing on you know, you and your body coming together, working together, fueling it in a really good way, giving it enough sleep, rest, you know, managing your stress, sufficient amounts of exercise, not too much, don't get too carried away, and then kind of, you know, every now and then check in if you need to with scales or measuring, and your body composition will change as a side effect of you developing that positive relationship. But it just doesn't feel like that at the start. So it's not easy to do. Sometimes we need external help. We might need some counselling to kind of get over years of kind of that negative self-image. Maybe there's kind of other stuff fueling it, you know, other people, other comments and things, so we might need to distance ourselves. But that is one of the things that I feel women don't do at the start of their kind of weight loss health journey.
What was the mistake again? Guilt.
No, guilt. No, I was going to say guilt, but
no,
it was having a negative body image.
Yeah.
That means he didn't listen for about the last 2 minutes.
No,
effectively.
No. You did, because you said guilt at first, didn't you? And then you said no. I was going to say
body image.
But for me, it kind of does tie in with guilt.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of said it, because I think a lot of the time women tend to, you know, smash out an extra gym session or eat one less meal out of guilt, not necessarily necessarily because they're like, oh, this is what I want to do, or this will make me feel good and happy and healthy. You know, it's that negative link of like, this is a guilt thing. I'm going to
deprivation.
I'm going to the gym because I feel that I have to. You know, I'm eating one less meal because I feel terrible for that. I don't know, packet of cheese and onion crisps and a Coke I had at lunchtime. Whatever. You know. So that's why I said it, because I thought it does kind of link
definitely. I'll let you on.
All right, see, I'm on the ball. I've got one as well. Can I add one?
Yeah. Okay, 4 for 3.
So, got a lot of messages recently, actually, from women off the back of our live Q&A that we did the other day, because I was saying, you know, if you've got any questions about, you know, your training, nutrition, whatever, kind of get in touch. And quite a few women did with regards to fat loss. But a mistake I think women make is they focus too much on the training side of things. You know, and some of the messages didn't even mention nutrition at all. And it was all like, I'm going to do more HIIT training because I've heard that's good for fat loss, and maybe I'll do an extra spin class to kind of help me out, etc., etc. And it's like, well, you know, yes, you know, exercise will increase your calorie expenditure, which may help with a fat loss goal, but the reality is it's not sustainable. If you're constantly looking to do more and more and more and more and more, it's not sustainable. Ideally, you'd want to maybe just tidy up your nutrition a little bit, and train in a way that you enjoy and that is sustainable. You know, look at a weekly structure and say, you know, can I see myself doing this in 2, 3, 4 months time? Because another thing is, you end up setting this really high bar for yourself. You know, if you start getting into the groove of doing 5 or 6 workouts per week, to you in your head, if you do anything less, it's not going to quite cut it to you, and you'll feel guilty, as we just spoke about. And then all of a sudden you'll be thinking, oh, you know, I've only done a few sessions this week. Normally I do 6. I'm going to get fat, and etc. etc. And again, it starts having that negative link. And you know, we always say to people, whether you train once, twice, 3, 5, 6 times in a week, you know, it shouldn't matter, because your nutrition should adapt in accordance with that, and everything would be hunky-dory. Like we always say, what if you got floored with flu and you couldn't train? What if you were heavily pregnant, for example? If you're injured, you've broken your leg, heaven forbid. You know, you would need to reduce your training, but you just adapt your nutrition accordingly, and everything's fine.
Absolutely. So there you go. So it was 4 common mistakes that we would make when they come to start out.
Should I save it? I'll save it. I'll log it.
So if you have any questions on anything we spoke about, or want some help from us, jump in the comments box, or feel free to message us. And yeah, I hope you found this useful, and hopefully you've got some good takeaways from it.
So yeah, don't be afraid to honestly to get in touch, guys, because we are here to help. So ask away with any questions. See you later.
Bye.